Opportunity is the blessing. Opportunity has always been the blessing. And what I've always asked for, prayed for was opportunity. And to be able to see the opportunities, because a lot of us don't see the opportunities that we have. We're looking at we're fixed on something else. And bring the opportunity, let me see the opportunity, let me at least get a shot at the opportunity. I've never said, hey, make me $1 billion. I want this, and my yacht got to be bigger. No, I just always ask for the opportunity. And it's always been given to me. It's always been a blessing to have that opportunity. I know engineers that are 99,000 times better than I could ever be at that time because I still didn't know what the hell I was doing. Really didn't. And they didn't have the opportunity. They couldn't see the opportunity. So ended up working at daddy's house. I walk in the door, first day, they said, do you know this? And John Eaton, shout out to John Eaton, he was a tech at daddy's house at the time. Said, do you know how to use an SSL console? I said, yeah, I do. And he said, do this, do this, do this. And all I remember was Bob Rosa putting me in a headlock, Aja Key putting me in a headlock, making me push buttons. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Next thing you know, I'm working. The next day, they said, come back tomorrow. And the next day, 112 walks in the door. First thing I ever worked on when I went to daddy's house was 112. Arnold Hennings came up, Michael Patterson, who's still, one of them good guys that I know in the industry. Not everybody liked him when he first came up, but there's a story behind that. Um, but Michael Patterson, and I was the assistant. And I don't think I left the studio for about 4 days. So that was, my first foray into working with Bad Boy was working with 112. That just came out of, I think it was the first time in New York. They just come from Atlanta, working with Tim. I think Tim and Bob came up to work. Arnold Hennings, I can't think of somebody else came up to work with him, and did Cupid. Dude, that whole first 112 album pretty much was not all of them because some of them were done before, but we did a lot of that records right there at Daddy's house, and I got assistant engineer credit on a lot of that. And that was a good experience to be in there, especially with a bunch of new people. As far as 112, they were young, they were teenagers. They come in. Q Parker, still one of my guys. We talk all the time, not all the time, but we see each other. We send a note, whatever. And 112 was a big influence on me once I got back to production, as far as all my backgrounds, how I craft my backgrounds, how I mix my background vocals, are all because of what I did with 112. So, and learning how to balance the harmonies the right way to make them work. So that's how I got to Bad Boy and Daddy's House. And I don't know what's the next question from there. I know I talk too much, but it is. I don't get to talk often.
No, no, you good, man. I really appreciate you. I mean, cause you sharing some hip hop and R&B history. I mean, Cupid, man, come on now. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? A lot of
yeah.
people fell in love to that music. A lot of people got great memories to that music, and that was at a
Hmm.
time when like hip hop was, the 80s was the golden era, but the 95, 96, 97,
Right.
93, 94 era was popping too. So man, I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, what exactly for the audience who might be doing like what exactly do you do to a record like Cupid? Once they because they like you say, you do this or that to the mic. What all involves audio engineering?
Well, I mean everything, and I also teach audio engineering. So what I teach my students, what I teach anybody who asks me about it, it's just blending of sounds. You want to blend things so that you can hear everything. That's pretty much it. They have great voices, but when you record voices, especially for records like that, you stack them. So Q would go in and lay the first the main part of the harmony. It's just a constant note that goes through the melody. God, I can't. Why can't I think of everything? The fundamental. He named the fundamental note of the harmony. Then he would do that 4 to 6 times. That's called stacking a note, so it sounds big. Then maybe Deron would come in and do a note, do it the same way, 4 or 6 times stack. Sometimes it's just three, but at least 3 to 4. Then you would have Mike do a note, and then you would have Slim do a note. Sometimes one person would do all the stacks, you know what I mean? And then the others would just do, single notes so that you could actually feel the movement. And that was the one thing, the beauty of what 112 did. Their backgrounds moved all the time. There was never just a da 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 da, not just like regular harmonies. There were da 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 da, and that's just one note moving, and the way they, and it was beautiful. That's the only thing I can say is beautiful. And I learned a lot listening to them and being there. That everything that I've done since then, I've crafted from those beginning sessions with 112 as far as background vocals and pretty much vocalists, period. I mean, I work with a lot of good vocalists in my day. I learned so much from them. It helped me with everything else that I did. And I mean, I work, the next week I'm working with Faith. So Faith comes in, now I got to be on my P's and Q's because that's Faith, she's Faith, and it's, just the same thing, okay, that ain't nothing but some ultra perm, just got to keep it. What she did was she's just so dynamic with her stuff. So, but her movement was the same as that. And then after that is Kelly Price. Kelly Price would blow your eardrums, but she, the control that she had with that stuff, so and just a lot of different singers. And that was the beauty of where I come from, DC, standing next to singers. I stood next to Lori Williams. Lori Williams is on the tour as a jazz singer, going around the country and the world singing. So she's still in my ear. Kim Bergen is still in my ear. These are, Del Marie Hines. These are people I went to high school with. You know what I mean? So they gave me a fundamental. But then when I got to see the professional, or I hate to say professional, the the beauty in what 112 did, I'll just put it that way. I took that, put it together, and boom. As again, I'm a singer. I started as a singer. I sang tenor. I could sing baritone to second out or second soprano. That was my range. I had a high falsetto, so I could sing those things. So I kind of knew how to put the parts together. But when you see 112, the way they were moving it and the way they made it work, so that was one of those. That was another pivotal moment. First time I ever worked with them doing harmony. It was a song called, I don't even think it ever came out, Why Didn't You Love Me? That 112 did. That was the first record I ever did at Daddy's house. Why Didn't You Love Me? Listen to the back, man. If you ever can find that record, listen to the backgrounds on that song. Boom. There's no, like, in a million years I couldn't have done that without hearing them do that first. So what 112 was big for me working with them because again, I'm an R&B guy. I wasn't just all hip hop, and it was good that I knew how to work on something like that. But again, I was the assistant for their first album. I didn't really record much for their first album, but not a lot of people knew how to sample or fly vocals in. So I had to. I used to sample this stuff with an MPC 3000. It degraded the vocals, but hey, listen to one of the albums and tell me that the backgrounds don't sound good. That the backgrounds don't sound good. Some of them were done with just flying them in on MPC 3000. So um just a lot of things that I did there that was just because I knew it because I did it before back home, in DC. Or we did it at Firehouse, with some of the backgrounds. We would sample on SP12, put and fly them in, fly vocals in when people were too lazy to do their hooks over again. So those things like that. So it was good that I had all of that practice before I got to Daddy's house. So that when I got there, when it was time to step up, I could say, yeah, I can do that. You know, I said, yeah, yeah, I can do that. Hey, we need some scratching on the record. Yeah, I can do that. You know, I wish I knew I could get paid for that, but that's a whole nother story. And that's why I teach music business too, because everything you do in the studio, you should get paid for. But